The Bills have been trying to chase down the Chiefs for the number 1 seed because they hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. If they can ever match them in record, they will be the 1 seed. A classic game, 86 points scored between the Rams and the Bills. Not classic if you like defense, but it wasn't quite 54-51 Chiefs-Rams from several years ago. But in that game, this is my favorite stat from the game. For the first time in the Super Bowl era, a team had 6 touchdowns, no giveaways, and lost.
Yeah, that's incredible.
245-0 was the record before yesterday of teams with 6 touchdowns and no giveaways in the Super Bowl era. And the Bills had that performance and lost, which is a huge red flag for their defense. They got shredded.
Their defense is going to be the problem, the question as we go forward here. I mean, that's going to be it with the Bills. Again, I think if we ask most people on the street and we just go to Johnny Casual fan walking down the sidewalk right now, and you'd go, hey, who's the best player on the Bills defense? They'd go, maybe that Ed Oliver guy? Right? I mean, again, there's nobody on that side of the ball. So the offense, they fixed that. Josh Allen has help around him, let alone we know he is basically Superman anyways. But there's enough there now to where they have talent on that side of the ball to show you exactly all the talent he has, and that's why we're all going, oh my gosh, he's the MVP of football. But the defense is a big concern. There's no question. There's certain matchups in football with this team, and I know you heard me talking about it in the viewing room, and this is why I thought this game would be a shootout last week when we did our picks podcast and all of that too. Because when a team like the Rams has an O-line, which is healthy right now, and kind of their original starting 5 that they were going to start the season with, they can bully you. They can run the football. And when that happens, this is what happens, because the Bills are not big up front. And then they, no, we got to stop the run. We want to play man-to-man, but we can't play man-to-man. We're not a man-to-man team. We're a zone football team. But, oh, man, we can't get pressure on Matt Stafford. And when we play zone, McVay and Stafford had a million zone beaters, so they're picking us apart. And that's the problem. They're going to be able to, of course, they're going to be in the mix. They're one of the best teams in football. But there's a few teams in football that are going to be really tough matchups for the Buffalo Bills and their defense. And you know what? We're going to see another one this week because they're playing the Detroit Lions. Yep. And it's that big, that's why they got blown out by the Ravens. The Ravens could do this too. Big overpowering O-line. And then it compromises them in the back end to have to do and play coverages they don't want to play. And then it's, you're getting just bombs away. And we saw that yesterday from Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
And the Bills still almost won because of Superman.
It's amazing. I mean, the game changed because of the block punt, right? That was the moment. We went, hey, it's 10-7 Rams. The Bills go 3 and out. It becomes 17-7, and that, of course, gave them that little extra possession, and it felt like the Bills kind of were playing catch-up from that point. They were kind of hanging in there. It was back and forth. At the end of the half, the Rams scored. The Rams scored early in the second half, too, and all of a sudden you looked up and you went, holy crap, they're up 31-14. But 31-14, as we mentioned, doesn't mean crap with this guy, because nobody can lead a team down the field in a 4-play 80-yard drive or a 5-play 80-yard drive than this freaking guy. Arguably, we just talked about one of the greatest of all time. I'm telling you, this guy right here is one of the greatest of all time. He just doesn't have the hardware and the team that's helped him to get there yet, so we can all say it. I said last night he's John Elway-ish, and he's going to John Elway. No one's going to believe it until he wins the Super Bowl. That's the way it is. But he does things on the field, and I think you agree, that I would say, yeah, only Mahomes can do that. I'm not even sure Mahomes can do some of the stuff he can do. I mean, he's an incredible football player. It was on full display. But, yeah, it's going to have to be their offense, I think, that's going to have to carry them home against some of these quality teams in the NFL.
I saw that graphic. He's the first player in a regular season game with 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns in the same game. Do you know who the other player is who did it in a not regular season game and not a preseason game, in a postseason game?
It's an old player, right? It's like it's Otto Graham.
Very well done.
It's Otto Graham.
1954.
I saw it somewhere yesterday.
Look, he's trying to sell it he's searching his memory banks.
Because I was like, wait, is it Norm Van Brocklin? I had all these old quarterbacks going through my head. So
Norm Van Brocklin has this single game passing yardage record.
That's what I was getting
still
confused.
Stands to this day.
Incredible.
Still stands to this day. Every once in a while, somebody's on pace for 500, but even then, they need like another 54 to beat Norm Van Brocklin's number. And yeah, I look at the rushing numbers yesterday, and you see 10 for 82 and 3 touchdowns. You think, hey, it's not a bad day for James Cook. No, James Cook had 6 for 20.
Yeah.
That's Josh Allen.
And these aren't like tush-push like touchdowns. I know he gets a quarterback sneak every now and then, but for the most part, like you talked about before, it's him running for a 30-yard touchdown against the Chiefs, breaking 3 tackles. It's incredible what he's doing. That's why he is the MVP right now, and he should be the MVP in that conversation. We'll see what they do here, but nobody can watch that game yesterday and go, well, they didn't win because Josh Allen wasn't good enough. I mean, if you're saying that, then you're just clueless about football, and you need to just go watch some other sport. You don't know what you're watching. I mean, he is the reason they were in that football game. But like we worry about with the Chiefs and their offense, it's vice versa with the Bills, and I think it is going to be real. I know that Rams team is good, but I do worry about that Bills defense. There's just lack of a man-to-man corner. There's lack of big-time run stoppers. And then Greg Rousseau is the guy that get pass rush. Other than that, Von Miller is non-existent. There's nobody else. And you worry about that, the Bills, when they have to play, some of the best teams in football.
Yeah, 0 sacks yesterday of Matthew Stafford by the Buffalo Bills. The Rams, and this is going to be a new narrative in some circles.
Yeah.
Have we not been saying for weeks? The Lions do not want
that was
the
going to
Rams.
Everybody. The whole NFC is going to be like,
kill them, please. Somebody.
Yeah, right.
Seahawks, keep winning, Seahawks. We'd much rather play you in the playoffs than the Rams, especially with the Rams healthy. The Rams get in. That team that played yesterday gets in, and there's going to be some sleepless nights in team facilities getting ready to face the Rams in the postseason.
I agreed. It starts with their O-line, like you've been hearing me say. Since that's gotten healthy, that's when you've seen their team start to look its best. And they got a damn good running back. But, 100% right, Mike. I mean, we know McVay. McVay's going to come up with the right game plan, make the right adjustments. He always does. The 2 guys they got at receiver are special. Puka Nacua is incredible.
Puka Nacua is incredible.
Incredible.
How did he last until round 5?
I know.
Them picks, baby. We don't need first-round picks. We'll find gems in the later rounds. Credit to Les Snead and Sean McVay for finding Puka Nacua.
Definitely.
And I don't know whether it was injury history. I don't know what it was, but he got downgraded, and he is a hell of an upgrade over pretty much anyone in the league right now. The way he can control his body,
right?
He's fearless.
Physical
fearless.
as hell.
Fearless to a fault.
Yes,
but
right.
Incredible.
It makes it fun to watch, though. Usually those guys that are fearless to a fault are fun to watch. But yeah, he has a physical element to him right here where, again, he can break arm tackles. He can lower his shoulder. He gets tough yards. He's the go-to guy in that offense. And in the offenses, it's not just them. Again, you start to stop them a little bit. We always see Tutu Atwell pop up from time to time. Demarcus Robinson. We know they got the runners to go along with it. Their defense is not super good in Los Angeles. It's not that. They're really going to play bend, don't break. We hope we can make a play and just steal a possession somewhere to get the ball back to our offense. But, to your point and what they're saying right now, hey, Detroit and Philadelphia, we know they're the 2 best teams in the NFC. But nobody's going to like seeing the Rams come to town. And then if you just take the rest of the NFC, take off Detroit or Philadelphia off the list, the Rams can beat anybody. Of course they can. And with that offensive line, again, that's to me the big change with their football team. Since they got that group right there, they're going to be a pain in the butt here down the stretch.
If they get in. They control their path right now. If they win out, they will get in. They are a game behind the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC West,
right.
And they are a game behind
Washington Commanders.
Right. All of a sudden, Washington has a week off, and they wake up and they're like,
"We're in a dogfight."
Yeah, we're gonna
right.
have to really
right.
work here down the last 4 games to earn a spot in the postseason. But really, in the NFC, because the Lions have this great record and it's a great story, and how can you not be happy for the Lions? They've been downtrodden all these years. It is not going to be, it's not the 85 Bears where they're going to shut out a team in the division round. They're going to shut out a team in the championship. They're going to go to the Super Bowl and blow somebody out. They're going to have to earn every path. They're still going to have to earn their bye week. They still have to earn their division title. They might not be guaranteed a home game in the playoffs. The Vikings, who we will talking, it's coming. It's coming. Calm down, Vikings fans. The Vikings are still breathing down their necks.
Of course. Yeah. It's the most least talked about 11-2 football team I've ever can remember, the Minnesota Vikings and what they're doing there. Yeah, it's not in the books right now. I mean, they didn't sew this up. And, of course, Detroit, as we've talked about, they got the Buffalo Bills coming to town this week. That's not going to be easy. But all in all, we know they're one of the best teams in football. And, I mean, I sit here with you, and we talk Rams. We know that. Bills, you got any concerns with them? I mean, you still look at them and think they're certainly the top two teams in the AFC there. That defense make you worry a little bit yesterday?
They've got to get that defense together. And, look, it's what a difference from last week. Now, it's easy to look good on defense when you're playing in conditions where one team looks like they've been playing in it their whole life and the other team looks like they had no concept what snow was before the game started. So they like you said, the Bills are capable of being steamrolled defensively. And in those games, they just need Josh Allen to go off and hope they can score enough points.
When you go into a game and you admit, like last week, they played the 49ers, right? They admitted they were going to get run on before the game. Tony Dungy said it. The Bills know they're going to get run on. I mean, what? Who says that, right? You don't hear that from teams that are going, we're a Super Bowl team. We know we're going to get our ass kicked today, and they're going to run the ball up the middle on us, but we'll find a way to win the football game. I mean, they almost expect it. That's what's crazy. But I do think they've made enough moves on their offense, and it's talented enough to where, they're going to be able to win some shootouts against just about anybody in football, as we see. So we'll see where it goes. But, their defense is going to be something we're going to have to watch as time goes here. And, you go, okay, well, hey, teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the offense isn't great, but they'll be able to move the ball in that Bills defense. That's not going to be a problem. So that game they have potential to be shootout type of football games, and that's what's going to happen up in Buffalo, I think. I think we're going to see a lot of wide-open football when it's competitive football teams playing.
They do have a fairly easy path once they get out of Ford Field next week. Patriots, Jets, Patriots, that's a hell of a nasty sandwich to eat there. But it's a good one for the Bills. They should be able to win the last three. But when you look at their 7-game winning streak that ended yesterday, okay, so they won their first three. They lost 2 in a row, blown out by the Ravens, and then 23-20 loss to the Texans in Houston. The Monday night win over the Jets, which was not easy, 23-20. They easily beat the Titans 34-10. They easily beat the Seahawks 31-10. Barely beat the Dolphins 30-27. That was one that could have gone either way. That was when Tua was back. 30-20 win over the Colts. Chiefs, they won 30-21. They had their bye week, and then the easy win over the 49ers. But this game, you don't want to have a game this late in the season that exposes more warts than you can cure.
Yeah,
I think that's what's alarming about it. You get into December, and if you have one of those games that just rips the facade away and you see, man, we got some problems here, and we're going to come up against one of these teams in the AFC that is going to be able to just run the ball down our throats, and we're just going to have to rely on Superman to save our season. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. But the fact that 6 touchdowns from him wasn't enough to win that game just shows you how bad the defense was yesterday. 44 points tells you how bad it was.
Right. It shows you how great he has to be. It has, and I think, Mike, you raise all the right questions. I think the question off of that is, how many teams can actually do that, right? And that's going to be the big thing. Baltimore, you said it, right? They're one of those teams that can certainly do that. In the AFC, there's not a ton of those teams that you go, they can run the ball and pick us apart in the pass game at the same time, right? Like the Rams.
Okay, so other than the Ravens, who can do it?
Yeah, I think it's the Ravens we're looking at. I'm not ready to say the Houston Texans can, not the way they've looked. I'm not really ready to say the Pittsburgh Steelers can pick them apart to that extent, even though the passing game is getting better, as we know. I don't know. I think that might be it. It's Baltimore and maybe Kansas City, but Kansas City doesn't have the run game to match what the Rams can do and what Baltimore can do.
What if the Broncos roll into
The Broncos
Buffalo?
are definitely a team I looked at with Sean Payton and the way they run the offense where, their O-line's good enough. That could be a pain in the butt. I think that is one where, they could muster up enough offense and their defense is good enough, just enough to slow down the Bills just enough to where, maybe they could do that. But I think it's a list that's few and far between when you talk about teams that we're talking about what the Rams did to that Buffalo defense. There's only a handful of them out there. And again, I think the interesting thing is we're going to see another one of them this week because they're good at this too, the Lions. Run the ball. Oh, we can run a little option route with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, we're starting to overpower you. Now you're playing man-to-man. Oh, well, you can't cover Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're running by you now. They're going to have some of the same issues here once again. I'm going to be interested to see how they adjust this week in that matchup.
I mean, we just presumed the Bills were going to at least be the number 2 seed, if not the 1 seed.
No,
they're now
not
tied
anymore.
with the Steelers
Right,
for the 3
right.
seed. And that becomes important because if you're the Bills, you want 2 home games before you have to play the Chiefs. And they may just have 1 home game before they would have to play the Chiefs. They may have a home game against the 6th seed and then have to go play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who knows? But the Steelers have that,
the Steelers
that
have the
very
toughest
difficult
schedule
stretch.
maybe in football.
They've got
here
the
last
Eagles,
4 weeks.
they've got the Ravens, they've got the Chiefs, they've got the Bengals.
That's right.
3 games that they easily could lose, and we won't be surprised if they do lose at least 2 of them. Won't be surprised if they lose all of them because these are the 3 toughest games that they've seen all year long. All right, so that's it for the opening. We haven't even identified the show. This is one of those days where we just jump right into it. And I don't think that anybody's accidentally listening. Maybe there's one guy out there. Maybe Johnny Casual
we're
fan.
on Peacock.
You mentioned
Everybody's going
earlier.
there.
Well, they have to come find us. But if they're flipping around Sirius XM85, and
Right.
they're wondering who are these 2 assholes?
Yeah. Well, just one
sorry,
of them.
London.
I'm Chris Simms.
Okay, but it's funny because when you said earlier Johnny Casual fan, it's like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be funny if there's some guy out there whose name is Johnny Casual fan? He's like, hey, he's doing the Leonardo DiCaprio point at the TV. But if Johnny Casual fan tripped over Sirius XM85 and wonders, the show is PFT Live,
Right.
Peacock, Sirius XM85, Sky Sports NFL, Hello London, and podcast.
Is Brady paying you now? Is that you're part of the Brady? Are you part of the Brady brand?
No,
Bull?
no,
That's
no.
what you're doing today.
No, they gave it to us at the combine, and I wear it every once in a while.
I thought you were on the payroll. I
right,
thought you
no,
were
no.
with
Yeah, I
the
don't think he
Raiders
put
and
me on.
Fox
No,
and Al
I don't
Davis,
think
and
that-
you're on the payroll. I thought
Unless
you were.
Tom Brady pays absolutely no attention to anything I write, there's no way I'd be on the payroll, nor do I want to be on the payroll. Although I say all the time, I'm not the guy you kill, I'm the guy you buy, just because I love that line from Michael Clayton. Have you seen Michael Clayton?
I
Have you
have.
ever
It's
seen
been
it?
a long
It's so
time.
friggin' good.
Right, yes.
It's so friggin' good. But that's a great line. Okay, let's take a break. The Keystone State has one of the best Week 15 matchups. That will be Eagles and Steelers. They both won yesterday in advance of what Cam Hayward regards as a high school state championship game next weekend in Philly. We'll discuss those games next here on PFT Live, presented by Accenture. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.